Hey guys, let's get right into it. So I've actually had a lot of experience with this kind of energy in my life through my past lives and, bloodline, everything. I have a very strong connection to witchcraft. I mean, all of us as women has some sort of connection to that energy because, there was a time where a lot of us were burnt for that, and most women have been affected in this way in some form. Like, I know obviously different cultures have different histories, but there is some sort of connection to that suppression of the feminine power. When I was about 17, I was told by my spiritual teacher at the time, that I had a very strong connection to witchcraft, and that obviously sent me down a path where I was really intrigued and learned a lot about it, and it's been very empowering, but it's also opened me up to, we're all open to it, but it opened up my awareness to the fact that other people could also use magic against me if they wanted to, and they have, and I've known about it every time, and I've learned how to transmute that energy into something which makes me more powerful, makes me stronger, and actually backfires on them like 100% of the time. It's always going to backfire. I don't really understand why people do it, to be honest. Like, that's on them, I don't know why you would want to bring that kind of energy back on yourself. So yeah, it's been a really powerful thing to discover that actually, like, things that we feel like at the time, because of course, like, when it's happening, when you're in that and you know everything's going wrong and you can't tell why, like, you've been doing everything right, and there's also been times where I've like specifically like felt that person like psychically attacking me, but yeah, it's very empowering to come to the realization that this kind of energy is actually a catalyst for us to step further into our own power. These people who may be casting this black magic, curses, hexes, whatever you want to call it, just like sending negative energy, like telepathically, psychically, energetically, these people are actually just playing out the role that we need to become stronger and become more resilient, to become more ourselves. And this is, of course, like, up to you to take this empowering belief and decide that that's how you're going to choose to live your path. You can play the victim. You can continue to think that the world is against you, think that these people are terrible people, but the truth is they are just reflecting back to you the lesson that you need to step into your power. Straight up. Honestly, in my life, I have dealt with this like quite a lot. And initially, from the age of like 18 to, probably about 2 years ago, I would also get sucked into that victim mentality around it quite easily, because it's easy, like, we're human, like, don't be hard on yourself if you have fallen into that, because I have so many times, and fair enough, it's so valid. Like, as a human, living the human experience and feeling like there's someone else that is maliciously using magic or just their energy against you is not a pleasant experience. It's not a walk in the park. It is like probably one of the hardest things that I have had to figure out how to navigate. Luckily, we do have the internet now with such a wealth of knowledge out there, but it's not particularly a topic that is like discussed. So when you're in that position and you realize what is going on, it's just like, well, fuck, what do I do? How do I navigate this? What I'm about to say is something that people used to say to me all the time. And I always used to find it really confusing and it didn't really help. But I'm going to try and explain it in a way that is a little bit more relatable and makes a bit more sense. I just remember like a few times where I was experiencing this kind of thing, whether it was felt like I was cursed or like someone was attacking me, having a conversation to like people a few times about this kind of thing. And the advice I would always get is that to remember that I am the only one who has control over my reality and not to give my power away to them. And this is very, very true. It is like ultimately the realization that you come to, but you can't actually realize it like and understand what that truly means like that just by hearing that advice. It's good advice, but it's hard to comprehend that when you're actually in the experience, and you feel helpless and you feel scared and you feel alone and you don't know what to do. It's pretty difficult to just take back your power and be like, yeah, no one can take my power away from me. And that's okay. It's a process. So I feel what is actually more helpful is the concept that when you are afraid, when you're putting that energy out there, that is giving them power. And I know it's not easy to just snap your fingers and not be afraid anymore, but it's just something to contemplate, is that your fear towards the situation is what is perpetuating that energy loop to continue. Because that kind of witchcraft, that kind of magic, whenever someone's projecting negative energy towards you, it requires your participation. Yeah, it's like a feedback loop. And then I think the next thing that I'd like to explain is that, so we've already understood that our fear is what perpetuates whatever it is that's happening. So our participation in putting energy into it is allowing that energy to continue to affect us. And from there, we can realize that when we start to change our perspective on what's happening, then we can change the energy that we feel towards it. So we understand that the energy that we feel towards it in that moment is fear. But then we have the power to change our perspective on the situation itself. And this is the next aspect I'm going to share with you. So one way that we can shift our perspective on this and change the way that we're looking at it is to maybe even just ask the question, is this experience that I'm having potentially trying to help me? Is what this person is doing to me, is it actually a blessing in disguise? And I know it might be very hard to see it like that if you're in the midst of a situation like this, but is it potentially trying to help you? Is it potentially trying to make you stronger? Is it possible that the universe has put you in this position so that you can take your power back? It's not to say that it's meant to be easy to do that, because it's not. But if you can just shift the way you're looking at it, that allows you to not feel so afraid. I remember the first time I realized this, it was the most empowering thing ever. And it doesn't necessarily mean that this energy is going to, completely go away. But the more that we stop engaging with the fear, the more we stop giving it power over us. And eventually in time, we learn how to notice that someone's sending us negative energy. When we start to notice that phenomenon happening, we get to a point where we actually don't react with fear anymore. And it kind of just becomes funny. And it's like, oh, they're at it again. They're giving it their best. They're really trying over here. Because we know that it's actually just helping us. At the end of the day, it's just providing that bit of resistance for us to really just come back to ourselves and remember how powerful we are. And remember how much we can actually just fully trust and like surrender to the universe, to God, to ourselves, to life. You know, we can just, in these times of struggle, we are absolutely able to just completely let go and just give it all up and just be like, well, I think that's one of the most powerful things that I've ever done in my life, is to just, in those moments of complete darkness, just literally, you know, just lie down on my bed and just cry out and just be like, well, fuck it. Yeah, like we always have the power to tap into that deep sense of being able to just trust and just surrender it all. I find that a very helpful kind of energy to come into while experiencing these kinds of energies. It's so relieving to come to this place in life where I genuinely, if I feel that energy, I'm so easily able to just laugh and just be like, well, that's okay. That is so okay, because I know that this is only happening for my highest good. I know that this is only making me stronger. Because we live in a world where there is so much resistance against consciousness, against finding true personal power. This society is born from witchcraft, but witchcraft that is based on fear. So of course there's a lot of that energy out there against witchcraft or any kind of personal power that is based on love. Like, as someone who is embodying their highest potential and getting in touch with their true self and being a beacon of light and love in the world, you are going to experience, and we are meant to experience, resistance and pushback from that energy. That's why we're here. We're here to forge a new path, a new way forward, and they don't want that. Anybody who's operating from a place of fear, of course there's going to be resistance. It's a part of our path, and you can choose to see these kinds of situations as the world being against you, or even just people being against you in general. But these people are really, like, they don't have anything to do with it. These people are just hurt people that are acting from a place of unconscious awareness. Like, they are acting from a place of unconscious pain, really. You know, they actually don't realize what they're doing. If they did, they wouldn't be doing it. And they're really just playing out the role that you need. So honestly, I have nothing but gratitude and love for the people that have thrown negative energy my way and used witchcraft against me, I am so grateful for them. And I have like such a deep love for them. I got compassion too, because I honestly feel for them, because the amount of like energy they are bringing back on themselves by doing that kind of thing, it's like I wouldn't want to be in their shoes. And yeah, I'm grateful because it's made me so strong, and because I've chosen to not be a victim and to take my power back and change my perspective on it and not be afraid of them. Yeah, it's completely freed me from so much, and I'd like to pass that on, because I know that there's a lot of us out there, a lot of us in this world that are experiencing this kind of thing. And just try to remember that these people, it's not personal. It's not personal at all. It's not. They're just playing out their role, their kind of like character, if you will, in the great movie of life. It's like, it's almost like it's scripted, like this. You as a conscious player, they're just playing that role for you to interact with, for you to find your personal power, for you to take that back and, you know, get to the next level. They're just, you know, like a gatekeeper of sorts. Yeah, it's not personal. It's never personal. It's honestly just a part of the human experience as someone who consciously embodies love and light in this world. We have the power to transmute all negative energy, and that is our purpose. That is why we're here. It's our choice though. It is our choice to make, to decide which wolf we're going to feed, which belief we're going to choose to have. We always have that choice. Don't ever forget that. Have a beautiful, wonderful rest of your day or evening. Sending so much love. Peace out.